Hey there, Team SEGA. It's Coach Rachel here. As promised, we are pulling together a video or two for you. Just some reminders to keep your conditioning, strength, flexibility up as best you can while you're doing things at home. Remember, anything that you do, make sure you ask your parents first. Don't do any kind of craziness around furniture and get yourself injured. Keep it simple, but do something active every single day. If it's beautiful outside, like it is today, take your workout outside. If not, you can do it inside too. Stay well and safe until we see you again soon. All right, so you're gonna wanna get nice and warmed up, about 3 minutes or so to get the blood flowing, the oxygen moving through our body. Addie's gonna start with a few jumping jacks. And after those jumping jacks, you can probably move to some maybe jump roping, some punches, maybe some booty kicks, and followed by some high knees. Good. Now we'll move on to stretching. So we'll do some arm circles and then get bigger and bigger, forward and backwards. Remember to take your time and to do your stretches properly. We'll even do some twists from side to side. Roll our neck around, get that nice and loose. And then we'll hit the ground for some floor stretches. Straddling first to the left, stretching it forward to the middle, and back to the right again. Now we'll do a pike stretch, toes pointed first, chest down. And then flex the toes and chest down again. And then you should move on to your splits. Make sure you start with your lunging stretch, pushing that back hip forward, keeping your hips square and your chest tall. And then stretch it back, keeping your hips square once again. Your knees nice and straight, your toe pointed. And slide it down to your splits. Stretching it down, knees are tight. Making sure you're right on top of it and chest up, reaching back. Keeping yourself nice and square. Remember, it's really important to push that back hip forward to keep your hips square. And then moving on to the other side. Remember to take your time during this stretch. You do not have to move as quickly as we are going for this video. And stretch it back. Sliding it out. And then chest tall. And after you hold your splits for about a minute each side, you'll move on to the middle split. Starting with the frog stretch. And you girls should remember some of the other stretches that we do in the gym, which will help. And go ahead and into the middle split. Mat's a little sticky today, so Addie's doing her best here. Knees are straight, toes are pointed, holding that middle split for about a minute or so. You can do this a couple of times, chest up. Good, knees are straight, toes are pointed. Next, we'll move on to switching from side to side, rotating through the middle, back to middle, and to the other side again. You can do that a couple of times as well. Moving on to the back bend. Make sure when you're bridging up that you really open up those shoulders, get those feet and knees together, holding it nice and straight. Go ahead and rock a few times, press and hold. Remember, when you're holding, hold open shoulders, elbows straight, fingers face the toes, and legs are straight. Next, we'll move on to our conditioning. After stretching, you're going to want to move on to our total body conditioning. The first thing that you're going to do is start with your V-ups. Everything I'm showing you here, I would like to see 10 reps of each, 10 times around. Go ahead, have those knees nice and straight, arms back behind the ear. As you lower down, make sure you stay nice and hollow. After the V-ups, you're going to move on to hip dips from the side plank. You're going to do 10 on each side. Make sure your body stays in a nice straight line. And then just lower your hips to the ground. Don't rest at the bottom. Go ahead and move on to the next side, and 10 on that side as well. After the hip dips, you're going to move on to leg raises. These leg raises will mimic a candlestick position. You're going to start with your hands down, legs straight up and over your hips, and pull the hips nice and tall up into that candlestick position. After your 10 leg raises, you'll move on to Superwoman raises. Laying on your tummy, elbows and knees nice and straight, nice straight line. You'll lift and pause at the top, and then lower back down. Nice holding. From there, we're gonna move into the knee in press outs from plank position. In this conditioning, you'll want to make sure that as your knee comes in, your shoulders go over your wrist. You straighten your leg back out as you lift into that needling position. So shoulders over the wrist, hips are down, and extend tall. You're going to want to try to get that heel down to the ground as you lift that leg straight up and over the top, pushing the shoulders back. Those shoulders want to stretch over the wrist and then back again. After you do 10 on each side of those, we'll move on to the push-ups. Nice and simple, belly's in, nice hollow, shoulders, hips stay flat, press it down, back up. Y'all should be very familiar with our push-up. From there, we'll move on. Now we'll move on to the inverted push-up. You can do these on an elevated surface that's at least couch height or so, or if you have a mat, you can have them lower. Your goal is to have your hips over your head at best, but all you're gonna do is just lower your head down to the ground, head in, not face to the ground, and press back up. Try not to rest on the bottom. The higher your hips are, the more difficult this is. You're gonna wanna do about 10 reps of these. Inverted push-ups. After the inverted push-ups, we'll move on to the tricep dips. For the tricep dips, try to find a chair or an elevated surface, and then keeping your elbows in nice and tight, go ahead and lower your hips down till your elbows are in line with your shoulder and press back up. Make sure you're not leaning forward and want those hips nice and close to the surface that you're using to press up on. And last but not least, we'll move on to squats. When you do your squats, make sure your legs are about shoulder width apart. You're gonna keep your chest up, make sure you don't lean forward, and sit those hips back. Nice and slow, press it up and squeeze. If you want more of a challenge and have weights, whether they're water bottles, cans of something you found in your pantry, you can do what's called a goblet squat. Just keep that weight or whatever you have right in by your chest, and then squat back. You can also do squats with an overhead press. That's a little bit more of a challenge, keeping your hips back behind those knees and your chest tall. All right, this next set of conditioning skills are geared towards your actual gymnastic skills that you would do in the gym. We'll start with our back bends from our knees. Remember to keep those hips pushing forward and your arms back behind your ears as you come up, reaching as close to your feet as you can and keeping those hips nice and open and those shoulders back. After that, we'll go ahead and stand up and we'll go into our levering positionings. You'll want to do this on your left and your right leg. Make sure you pass right to that lever position, tabletop, however you like to use it, and back up to the needle. Make sure you show both legs. You want to make sure that everybody stays as even as possible. After that, we'll move on to some passe holds. All you're going to do is just hit that nice tall releve and hold your turning position. Both legs, hold, and down. From there, we'll work on some step kicks. You can do these flat-footed as well as in releve. Just step, kick, each leg, step, kick, each leg. If you're limited on space, go ahead and just step, kick, alternating each leg, like so. From there, you'll move on to your split jumps. Just do the best that you can. Make sure you're keeping your chest tall, and most importantly, knees straight. If you can finish on releve, even better. If space permits, you can also work on your cartwheels. You can do them from your knee. Make sure if you're doing these inside, that there is no furniture or anything around that you will hit. Straight up and over the top. Make sure you watch your lunging into the skill and out of the skill, kicking straight and over the top, lifting tall at the end. Big stretches, hand position, arms tall. Now, since we don't really have a whole lot of space for round-offs, we can practice a drill that's called a cartwheel step-in. All you're gonna do is go into it like your cartwheel position. You're going to stretch over the top and then lift your chest tall, bringing those feet together. We'll try that again and try to finish on releve. Good. Now after that, you can also work turns. So we have a mat outside, and Addie put some socks on so the mat doesn't stop her from finishing that turn. Finishing nice and tall, pressing through releve and lifting those ribs in. If you have space and your parents say it's okay, go ahead and use a door frame and walk those toes up the wall, nose and toes, and a nice handstand hold. Remember to keep your nose and toes at the wall, no arching. Hold that for as long as you can. If you are talented enough and have the space, go ahead and do what I call thigh slappers. You're just gonna lift one hand up, touch your side, and switch to the other. And since today's nice, we've gone ahead and added sprints to our workout today. Addie's gonna do 10 sprints, each sprint being 8 seconds. Ready? Go. As fast as you can. Go, 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 go. Time. She'll go ahead and walk it back, and we'll repeat that 10 more times. Hope y'all enjoyed the workout. All right, so Addie's gonna show us now the inverted push-ups. That's where you have, it's kind of like an imitation handstand push-up. You try to get your hips over your shoulders as much as you can, just like a handstand. Lower slowly down to your head, not your face, and then press back up. Press back up, Addie. Press. Come on, Addie.